Hey guys, welcome to the July Stories vlog. This Stories vlog is going to be a little bit different to all the other ones. It's going to be a little bit higher quality because I'm filming it on this camera, but the audio might be slightly worse, and also it's going to be all filmed in one place. So let me know, you guys might prefer this format, and let me know down below if you prefer me doing it like this. You prefer it like a vlog, because I'm always open to suggestions. I filmed like the first half of the month, and then my camera deleted all the footage from the vlog, and rather than just filming like half a month and refilming those bits, I thought I'd just sit down and film the whole thing like this. We are going to start with books, and let me consult my list. And this isn't going to be in any particular order because this list is not in any particular order, and I can't remember what order I read things in, so we're just going to go by the books that are on this list. The first one is Trial by Fire. I think I started reading that at the end of the last vlog, and yeah, it was pretty interesting. Let me go get it. We have it. So it was pretty interesting. It was about this girl who has like loads of allergies and is generally like really ill in her world, and she gets transported into this other world where she has a double. Oh, still a bookmark in here. She has a double, and like all the people that she knows from her life have a double in this new like parallel universe, except this parallel universe has magic, and she's this really ultra powerful witch. Yeah, it was a really interesting concept. The writing wasn't great. Some parts were kind of boring. I didn't feel like much happened for most of the book. The characters were all pretty flat. Like they'd say things about how about character's personality or whatever, but they wouldn't show it in the character. It would just be like, oh, this character's like this, and then they would behave in the same way as every other character. So yeah, the characters were fantastic, but the concept was really cool, so I think I am going to read the next one. After reading this, I went on holiday for a week, so I bought a different book, and I bought Scythe by Neil Shusterman, which I will also go get. So, I read Scythe. I read it on holiday, so it's a little bit covered in sun cream, and probably like chlorine, but I really enjoyed this. The characters were really well developed. They were all like their own people. They were all like, you know, there were good guys and bad guys, but they were all sort of diverse people. The questions it raised about mortality and about how, like, what gives. Oh, hello. Hello? That was my doctor's. Yeah, what was I saying? It asked really interesting questions about if people have the right to take life, and about how a world would look like without death. So basically the concept of it is that humans have surpassed disease. We've kind of broken like into immortality essentially, and the only way that people can die is via these scythes, who are like specially trained people who go around and gleam, is what they call it, or kill people. It's the only way anyone can die. It was really interesting, like morally, and the characters were really good. It still had a lot of like YA elements. It was a pretty easy read. Like the vocabulary was pretty straightforward. The sentences were all pretty short. You know what I mean? Like it's not an adult book. It is a YA book, but there's blessedly no romance. And then I started reading Classical Mythology by Helen Morales, which is one of those, like, you know, the very short introduction things, where it very briefly sort of outlines some key stuff about the topic. She's been talking a lot about how the different ways of rewriting myths can represent what a culture views of it, and yeah, it's been really interesting. And she's obviously been telling quite a lot of the myths as well, but sort of tentatively, like, you know, some people say it's this way and some people say it's this way, and there's no right way, and how you choose to tell it says more about the author and the society writing it than it does about the story itself. Okay, let's do shows that I have seen. So I recently went to go see Shrek the Musical at Tyneside Theatre, which is in Newcastle, for you guys who don't know. And yeah, it wasn't like the West End version, it was not an amateur version, sort of somewhere in between. Yeah, I thought the songs were really fun. The costumes visually were great. Sometimes they were a little bit distracting. I didn't massively like all the Lord Farquaad jokes. I thought it got a little bit old. It's like basically the first Shrek movie, but everyone knows that the second one's the best one anyway, so. This actually happened last month, but I forgot to put it in the vlog. And I went to go see The Book of Mormon for the first time. I wasn't really sure what to expect because I kind of only really knew from the adverts what it was about, and the adverts just tell you that it's like outrageous and funny and really not like dirty, but blasphemous. I think this is the word that the advert says. And yes, it was all of those things, and it was hilarious. It was so good. If you get a chance to see it while it's in Manchester, you have to go see it. It's so funny. It's so well done. All the music is absolutely fantastic. There is some like really crude jokes in it, but most of it is pretty witty and on the ball, and the crude jokes that are in it work. Let's do movies. I went to go see a screening of Rocky Horror. Of course, I went dressed up. I went with Carla and Carla's cousin. So yeah, it was great fun. We all got dressed up. We saw it in Newcastle Castle, which was a really cool atmosphere. Yeah, it was great. It was great every time I watch it. I don't think I need to do a review of Rocky Horror. I mean, I can if you want me to, but it's great. I went to go see Rocket Man in cinemas. Yeah, it was really, really good. There were some places where the songs felt a little bit forced, but there was some where it worked so well that it made up for it. Like the scene where they sing Rocket Man is fantastic, and the song describes how Elton's feeling at the time so perfectly that in a way that I've never really thought about, and I love that song. Yeah, it worked really, really well, and there's a bit right at the start where he's playing the piano and he plays Saturday Night's Alright for Fighting. I don't know what the song's actually called, I assume it's called that. And that transitions really well, and I really like that he ages in that. And there's a scene where they're all like in the fun fair, dressed in like, I don't even know what era it is, but the fun fair gives it a sort of 50s vibe, but all of them look great, and I was jealous of all the costumes and everything in that scene, and it was so beautifully shot. That scene was worth like the whole of the movie. Me and Carla watched the Box Trolls. It was really fun. It was not the most intelligent of movies. There was a lot of times I found myself bored because I'm not the audience for it, but it was fun to look at and the characters were fun, and it was just fun. We also watched the first two Lord of the Rings movies because they're on Netflix. I have seen the Lord of the Rings movies. It was years and years and years ago. I don't know why, because it totally seems like something I would really enjoy. It's just something that I've never actually gotten into. I've read The Hobbit, I've seen all the Hobbit movies, but for some reason it's just never like, I don't know. The movies were fine. I really like the aesthetic of it, and I really like the world building around it. Some of the bits were a little bit dramatic and over the top in a way that I couldn't help but laugh at, like the fact that the whole thing is based around taking a ring to a mountain called Mount Doom. It's just, I find that really hard to take seriously. World building and the characters and the story I love. So maybe I should read the books. I think it's probably the answer to this. The next thing on this list is YouTube videos, and I think I only have two to recommend for you. The first one is the Phil coming out video. Phil's coming out video is iconic, and the video itself is great. You know, it's just a nice wholesome video. It really contrasts with the way that Dan did it, and I quite like that. But the video is worth watching for a 4-second clip where, and I'm not going to tell you what happens, but he's like, this is how I planned on doing this video, but then I decided against it. And then he shows you how he would have done it, and it is great. The other YouTube video I'd like to recommend is I'm a Disco Ball by Jenna Marbles. Jenna's channel at the moment is what I aspire to be. It's crazy and spontaneous and weird, and I love all of it, but the I'm a Disco Ball one just spoke to me. I didn't just find it like funny, I was just watching it like, yes, this resonates with my soul. Like the energy in that video, resonates with my energy so much, and I love it. We'll do some TV. So I finished watching Gentleman Jack. The last episode came out. I really liked the series. I want to go to Shipping Hall. I may or may not be related to her. I don't know if I mentioned this before. Maybe I'll make a video on this. But basically, yeah, the series is great. It is really gay, but not in a annoying way that a lot of TV shows with gay characters are, and I really enjoyed the final scene. I thought it was really cute and wholesome. I really enjoyed all the things being filmed in York because represent. I rewatched all of Stranger Things. I started watching Stranger Things season 3, but I'm only up to episode 5, and I don't know why, because I'm really enjoying it. So far season 3 hasn't been as good as the other 2, but I'm only on episode 5, so we'll give it a chance. I'm loving Nancy in this season. She's been one of my favourite characters all the way through, and I really like her in this season. I think she's really coming into her own, and I really appreciate that. And also, I like her wardrobe. I want to own all the dresses she wears. I watched Dark Tourist on Netflix, which is a series about this guy who visits some like really dark and weird tourist attractions. It was really cool. Some of them I want to do, some of them I do not want to do. Yeah, some of the things that he did were really thought-provoking, really interesting, and really sort of opened your eyes to people's experiences, and then some things were just cool, and it was just so interesting to learn about these weird cultural things that people don't talk about that much, but in a really in-depth and not just provocative but insightful way. So yeah, I would recommend it. It's also a bit of fun in it to learn about some weird dead people rituals. The next thing on my list is a podcast, so I guess we will do podcasts. I've been listening a lot to Welcome to Night Vale, and I'm really enjoying it. I've listened to it all before, I'm re-listening, I'm trying to catch up. It's really cool, it's really dark and weird, but also like kind of wholesome and nice and easy to listen to, but also like very engaging. Cool. I've talked about Night Vale a lot. I'm just going to skim over that. I've also been listening to the audiobook for Becoming by Michelle Obama, which is really cool because it's actually narrated by her, which adds a whole new level to it. Like, you know that the person speaking actually experienced the things that she's talking about, which is super cool. Yeah, I would really recommend it. I'm only like a couple of hours in, it's like 14 hours long, but I'm really loving hearing her story. And sometimes you forget who she is, and you're like, oh, this is just like a cool story about a girl's life, and then you're like, oh my god, this is Michelle Obama, and little things will just remind you of how cool and how badass she is. Like, she'll just be, you know, she'll be talking about someone in our life, and you're like, all of this makes sense. You can see so clearly how all of the things in her life led her to where she got, and I think that's really cool. I think that covers everything for this month. Sorry that this video was a little bit different, or not, depending on if you like it. Also, ignore this. Oh, well. That's my timer to tell me that I need to stop filming. Cool. Like, subscribe, and all that jazz. I will see you next Wednesday. I hope you enjoyed this video. What else should I say? If you have any requests or questions, then leave them in the comments. Cool, that's everything. Great.